Hello everybody, this is Josh. Welcome to Little York episode 3. Our city has been growing nicely, very grid-like, and as we can see in here, we did create a nice little suburb that unfortunately ended up being a little bit like a diamond, but then again, there's no perfect shape for any city or town or suburb. Again, it all depends what you're used to, where you live at, or what do you want to create. It doesn't really matter. There's no one specific way to do things. We're seeing that it's really nice. It's coming along pretty nicely. Let's see. Maybe we can zone all of this just to make sure that the growth continues. And there you go. So we have all this zone as residential, a little bit of commercial here. Maybe we can add a couple more little squares. The reason why I decided to do squares in here, especially since we're trying to do a kind of a different shape, is because I chose the modern city center, and that gives you really nice buildings when it's a high density. So in the near future we're gonna have to rezone this, but not right now. One of the things that I might want to do is an exit here, because I do believe that it's really far to go all the way here and then back. But let's make sure that everything is working properly right now. So we're going to check our electricity. We're doing well. Water, we're doing well. And garbage, I think it's working. It's working fine. Health care, debt care, elementary school, high school, and university. We don't have a university yet, because we also don't have it available to use. So I was wondering what is that we can do for this town right now. Let's see what they're doing. Not enough buyers, not enough raw materials. I think we can add a couple more. Let's see. No, there should be enough. They should be fine. You can see the pollution is getting really bad in here. Again, we're not gonna be dealing with it right now, so we shouldn't have any issues. In here, let's do a little park. In order to unlock parks for the first time, we need to set up a zone and area, a district. So let's do that. I try to make sure that these areas that we decide to zone are done nicely, or as much as I can, of course. Sometimes it's not easy to follow the lines or do anything like that. So we're gonna go, since this is kind of big, and I really think that we shouldn't overdo it in this little Walnut Gardens plaza, we are gonna go with the small main gate, and I am gonna put it on the avenue. And we unlock the park plaza, the info booth, the restrooms, and the cafe. So again, I'm gonna put an extra entrance here, here, and here. So whether you decide to use with decorations or without decorations, that's up to you. I think it all depends on what really you want to do with your park. Usually, I try to make them as nice as possible, so I try to use everything that I can. So we're gonna do just a little simple shape We're gonna add the little park plaza here. We're gonna add some. We're gonna add a cafe on this side. A restroom on this side. And the park info booth here. Now what I'm gonna start doing right now, since we kinda have the money, we're making that money. So I'm gonna start upgrading to the 2-lane with bicycle lanes. This is something that I like to do in most of my cities, depending on the location, depending on the situation, because I think that it works really well. You know, besides the fact that you can have a policy to try to get people to bike a little bit more, encourage biking, I think that it doesn't work as well if you don't put this here. And also you avoid trying to put extra paths. For example, in here we do have the bicycle path and we have the regular pavement path, and I think that it works really well and it does help alleviate traffic. And that's something that a lot of people don't do, and I think that it works really well. One of the things that I don't like for vanilla is the fact that there's no one-way road with bicycle lanes. I know there's different ones with mods, with assets, but again, since we're trying to do everything with the vanilla version of this game, we're not gonna have any one-way roads, which is fine. It works fine because most of the times it works well whenever it's one-way street with without bicycle path. And the reason why I wanted to update this, to upgrade it, is so that in case that we upgrade this later, the fence wouldn't be an issue. Sometimes fences are an issue, or any other building that's by a road, like we've seen before how we had to move some of the things here in order to make things work. Remember how we had to move this little plaza just one square up because we couldn't have been able to upgrade this little road. So now let's put the fence. Sometimes it does help to deselect some of the snapping tools. And here's where it's gonna get a little bit interesting. There you go, so it's fine. We can see it's our nice little park. It already had enough trees and whatnot, but we can do maybe a little bit of extra city beautification and putting a little bit more into it. Again, that's up to you. Especially, it's worth it, especially if you have a nice system where you can see a lot of detail, like I can right now. Otherwise, you know, it doesn't really affect that much. So if you don't want to push it, don't push it. Just make sure that you at least like what you're doing. And also depends on the type of park that you're doing. For example, I'm gonna try to see if I can do this just like specific for this. You can add a little bit of color without going to the extreme. Might put a rock or two here. So again, it all depends. And you can put as much effort as you want. Like some people do like to detail their city a lot. I'm one of those that it's sometimes in between, because, you know, it might not affect it that much, but it looks better, again, especially if you're able to appreciate the detail. It also comes to personal taste. I will be upgrading this too. Hopefully we can have people start using the bike lanes. Note that whenever you put the bike lanes here, there will not be any more parking, and that's an issue that we can solve a little bit by creating our own parking lots, and that's something that we will do in future episodes. We don't have that asset at the moment right here, but it's an asset that's easy to make. You can download it from the Steam store, and you should be fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using assets, in my opinion, like that you could possibly make on your own in the asset editor. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, and it doesn't make a big difference, and it's not a big overload, especially when it's simple stuff like that. Like, I like to place the 2x4s, which basically will kind of fill this little area, and I think it works really well, especially because they're very helpful, and you can kind of cheat just a little bit with them, but I think it's fine. You know, I think that in reality you're fine just putting an asset such as a parking lot. I'm also gonna do this and do this and fill this little. Okay, so again, our city is looking really nice. This place is filling up really nicely too, and we still need a little bit more commercial, so I'm gonna add this one here. And I think that I'm gonna actually try to build the exit ramp here. I think it's a nice place, a nice location. It's gonna have to be a little bit different than this because there's not enough space, so we're gonna see right now how we're gonna deal with that. We shouldn't have a lot of issues with that. We're seeing in here that we have problems with crime, and yes, crime is almost an issue here, and especially because it's so far away from the actual city center. And so what we're gonna do is place one here. We're still missing the fire safety, but I think we should be fine for now. I think having the police department in this case, since again, when you're growing, it's better to just wait until you have needs rather than to just start putting a lot of stuff, because then your budget is not going to be that healthy. So in here we can see that we have the expressway, the highway, however you call it, whatever you live. And well, first of all, we're gonna save just to make sure that we don't lose any information. And now I think I'm gonna do a road from here to here, and same thing from here to here. This is gonna be a little bit different than this one, but I think it's gonna work really well. So what we're gonna do is gonna have to stop and we're gonna continue this avenue. And again, we're doing the large avenue with bus lanes just so that whenever we start dealing with the buses, it works a little better. And also, you're gonna see how your city evolves from just having no public transportation to maybe having buses to maybe having trams to then having things that are hidden that are not a big deal to place, like the subway. So that's sort of the evolution of public transportation in a lot of cities, and so in this game. So the next thing that we're gonna do is just we're gonna build the overpass. And again, this is the way that I like to build things. You can have your own way. There's no correct or incorrect way to do it. As long as it works for you, it should be fine. We'll do this, we'll do this. We can let it run because we're kind of running out of money. And at least we let it run while we continue working on this. Some of you also might live in around a place that has a lot of frontage roads. Again, I live in Texas, so there's mostly frontage roads everywhere. So you can try to do that, but the problem that I see is that because of the way the city is laid out, because of how density works, because of how the dimensions work, I don't think it's a good idea. It will take a lot of space, and sometimes it's not going to work really well. But yeah, definitely you can do it, and it might be a challenge for you to get something like that. So we're gonna do 360, 360. We're gonna do 400 here, just because we have a little bit of a stubborn node. We're gonna upgrade this, make sure that they're facing the right way. And as you can see already, they are using this exit. Now we need to make sure that we take off. The lights, and some of you might be asking why I leave this. Well, it's because, again, the game is sometimes weird. There's no U-turns in here, so if I didn't have this little space, this little road, the AI would make it really weird as to if I had a bus route that was from here to here, then it would go all the way down, out, back, and all crazy and all weird. Again, that's an unfortunate effect. I don't know how it's not an easy fix to do. I mean, it's just a little fix with maybe making this a little bit longer, and it would work really well. I don't know why it's such a big deal. And just to complete the tic-tac-toe here, let's close this up. Let's make sure there's water. Yes, there's water. And I'm gonna keep on zoning this. Especially now that we have this exit, I think this commercial zone will be a little bit more used. One of the things that I might want to do right now is, again, upgrade all this. With the bike lanes. Remember how I told you that sometimes it's not gonna let you upgrade, and we're having that issue here. We'll see if we can fix it in a little bit. Again, it's not such a big deal, but it's a little bit of an annoyance if you're trying to make things work. So what we're gonna have to do is to delete it and hopefully delete both of them. We will be putting them back again in a little bit, hoping that they'll fit, and they don't. Well, this one fits, that's great. And maybe we can make this one fit. There you go. So they fit once more. And let's just finish upgrading this here. we cannot upgrade because of this, fine. And we cannot upgrade because there's not enough money. So let's continue upgrading the roads, as we were talking about before. Again, this is gonna help alleviate the traffic more than you think, and I do like it. Like, I do like it again, like I mentioned a little while ago. I wish that there were one-way roads with bike lanes. Unfortunately, there's none. With the vanilla assets, but again, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And so we don't have that much money, even though we're making more than enough. We are producing a good amount. Let's see in here. We need a little bit more, so we're gonna let this run a little bit. We need to see where we're gonna be purchasing our next square, and I think it's gonna be this one, the one below. I think we can do really good things with it, especially since there's a really nice lake here. We could do maybe a park area. We could do a nature reserve. So hopefully that's the next thing. Something else that we can work in here is to maybe start a forest industry. I think maybe this could be it. This really nice part of it. Because I don't think there's enough on this side. So in theory we can turn around this and just start from there, and maybe we can take over all this side. But we are gonna wait a little bit and let this run for a little bit so we can make a little bit more money. We're seeing that we have a high demand for residential zones, and I think we can leave these for maybe schools, maybe for something else. And let's try to continue zoning on this side. Again, nothing major, just regular zoning. And I think that should be enough right now. We need to make sure that there's enough water. And let's keep on zoning this, and this. And as always, like I like to do, to put sidewalks on the side, just to make things easier for people to walk. And in here, I think that should be good enough. Again, we're trying not to put that much stuff by the expressway, even though we can always upgrade the expressway to the one with sound barriers, and that helps a lot. It's not a big deal right now because it's not that congested, but as you can see, it's already getting a little bit busy, a little bit red. So we need to be prepared just in case. We might actually want to do something here, maybe some high density, and I think we can do an overpass from this point over and then down and just do some nice zoning on that side. But that's for later. So we zone this. Whenever it's here, I do like to put a path like this, but I don't think it's necessary since it's really close to the intersection. So we have that as always. Need to make sure that there's enough electricity. We might need to increase our water, and we can do 90 for now. That should increase it nicely here. There you go. Garbage, again, we might need to invest in that. Elementary school, I think we're gonna have to build one right here. But before we do that, I need a road. There you go. And just a regular school. Nothing too fancy. High school, we're fine. We might want to build another one once we can start building something else here. Because I think in here, once we're able to get high density, I want to build some high density residential area here. So we're fine for right now. It's always traffic, it's nice, there's not that many issues. And we should be fine. Very nice. Let's see what else we have in here that we can put in there. We have all this for the industry. We have tourism and organic. Let's see if we can put some tourism maybe here. Let's see what we can do. There you go. I think we can pretty much do this. Do tourism and do this. Let's see if we can put a beach volleyball court would be kind of nice here. Hold on. Let's see. Because we also want to put something that... There you go. I think that should be fine for right now. Let's make sure that there's water. Yes, there's water and electricity. And I think that's it for right now. Let's see if we can smooth this out. That should be it. We might wanna dezone these two, especially because in the near future this is gonna go this way, and we don't want to have that much noise traffic in there. And let's see, we can change this one, move this one here. So our small but really nice park upgraded, and I always keep forgetting to do this. I really don't like to charge for just regular parks like that because there's really no point in making money out of it. It also doesn't make any sense, at least again for me, that I really don't recall having to pay to go into a park. Let's make this a little bit faster, and we can see in here that now we have the park chessboard, the park pier 1, and park pier number 2. We might want to put this one here. And our entertainment value is good enough. We just need more visitors, and I'm sure we're gonna get that pretty soon. I think I'm gonna zone these little squares, rectangles, and I think I'm also gonna zone this, but I'm gonna put a little path in here. And now we move to a big town. We have now campus areas, taxation, more taxation, the IT cluster, a whole lot more policies. Now we have high density for residential, commercial, and office zones, along with the university and a whole lot more. So that's going to be interesting to see what we can do with it. I don't want to put any high density commercial or residential yet, but I do want to put some offices right now. So let's see, we can do something here. So going in with these ones, let's just pause really quick. Let's close it and let's do this. And just put 1, 2, and 3. And let's see how that works out. Something that I think we've been trying to do is the buses. The thing is that the city is still small, and thankfully we don't have that much of an issue with traffic. You know, it's here, but of course that's where the exits to the expressway are at. So we really don't need to worry about public transportation at the moment. We have enough electricity, maybe water, we're gonna have to invest in it, but not yet. I think our little Beechwood Square, which has, as you can see here, the tourism specialization, is doing really well. We're gonna add a little bit more, that way, not this, but this. That way this one has electricity and people can go visit. But as you can see, it looks really nice. Shouldn't have any issues. Again, one of the things that I don't think that City Skylines does well is with dimensions. Like, a city of 6,000 is not gonna have that many hotels this big. You know, it's not realistic, it's not organic. But then again, you know, that's what we get, and it's good enough, at least for right now. In terms of disaster services, we have the tall radio mast, or the radio antenna. And I think, at least for now, we can just put one here. It should be fine. We can put this, which is the earthquake sensor. We're gonna put one here. We could coverage. And another one here. It's, I think, good enough coverage for right now. The tsunami warning buoy. I think just one here. Even though I think the best place would be around this side, but we should be fine for right now, hopefully. I don't think we need a weather radar right now or the deep space radar at the moment. And yes, we can put a couple of small emergency shelters. We can put one here. And we can put one here. Again, they're not gonna make a big difference, especially because the way that I like to deal with disasters, it doesn't really matter. The way that it's set up, it doesn't really matter. And let's plant a little bit more. 1, 2. Let's make sure that it's pairs. Enough crops. I'm sure it's doing animal products. And I think we're doing well for right now. I do feel like we're missing something here, but we don't have money to put either the cemetery, which would be the best option, I think. And we don't have enough for the crematorium yet, but I think we should have a cemetery here pretty soon. I think I'm gonna have to try to put it here. It should work well. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, we should be fine whenever we have money for that. We need to zone more for residential, as you can see. Again, on this city, I'm gonna try to do as much as I can, not to put any high density yet. You know, I want this town to be a little bit more organic, so I want it to be a little bit more realistic in that area. So right now we can buy another square. We can buy, I think it can be either this one or this one. This one is 7,900 and this one is 7,400, because of course there's more suitable area, which is 71% against 62%. Maybe even this, but I don't think it's a good idea right now, or this, but I don't think it's gonna be good enough. This could be actually not so bad. I think I'm gonna go with this. So now we grew, and let's just really quick save, just to make sure that we're not gonna be losing anything, as always. And we have this nice piece of land. So the first thing that we need to do, of course, is get an exit here. I don't think I want to do anything with agriculture anymore. I think there's enough space here to grow this little area. So I don't think we need to worry about more agriculture for the moment. So I don't really think there's anything else to do here. So I'm gonna have to do at least one exit here and build more around this area, trying now to conform more with the shape of this terrain. Again, the reason why I chose this map is because it's nice and flat overall. It has some really nice waterfront, but overall I think it works really well as a beginning for things. I do want to make this part of a park, but not yet. That'll be really nice. And again, we left this to go this way because we are gonna buy this other part, this other square. So it's gonna go really nice here, but we also need another exit here. So that's what we're gonna do next. Again, for the way that I like to do things, I think we're fine doing it the way that I've been doing it. we might want to keep these ruins. I'm a little bit not too caring about that. These ruins look more like World War II ruins than anything else, especially since they're close to the water. So let's try to see if we can do if we can have an exit here. Okay, so we're gonna do two here. Two here. And I'm gonna do basically what I was gonna do here, which we still have to deal with it in a little bit. So let's make sure that we're able to get this done. We should be fine for now. It's not a big deal, especially since more than likely we're not going to be dealing with this right now, with this part. We can try to make it as straight as we can make it. Let's see if we can get it done. And again, it really shouldn't matter. It's just an exit. Yes, it would define how we deal with the road that's gonna accompany it, but really it shouldn't make a big difference. So that's done really nicely. Let's try to get it to work a little bit. And it's gonna be here to here. And from here to here. Let's change it a little bit. There you go. Okay. So now let's do the overpass. Again, I like to do the large avenue with bus lanes. Do 1, 2, and then 1, 2. It's good enough. And we don't have enough money. So what we are gonna do, let's run this for a little bit longer, and already we can see how we can get this road to work for us. We can do this, or we can try to do different shapes, because I think that's, again, we are done with the grids, so I think we should be fine with that. So here we can do one of two things. The first is we can either do this and then kind of destroy this, or, because we don't want to do an overpass here, we can do something a little bit different. Let's put this like this here. And what we're gonna do is Okay. And you're gonna see in a little bit what's gonna happen. Okay. Trying to get the overpass. And again, we're making enough money. That's why we're going fast. Checking that we have another electricity or not. We don't. We might need another. Let's see. Yeah, we might need another plant or something else. And again, the cheapest thing is the coal plant. So I guess we're gonna spend on another coal plant. That way we have enough water while we continue working on our overpass. And so what we're gonna do from here is something a little bit different, which is we're gonna go one down, and then we are gonna put this here, and it should look at least nice enough. So it should be 240. There you go. Of course, the best way that this could have been done is to make this an overpass, and that way, instead of having the avenue be the overpass, it would have been the expressway, the highway, and this would have looked a little bit better. But again, because we don't deal with any mods or the movie mod or the anything else to help us build it, this is how it's gonna work. At least, again, in my opinion, a little bit better. We should have no issues whatsoever. We're fine there. We're fine here. Going this way, going that way, yes. And now again, we need to make sure that there's no lights
Warning.
here.
Experts predict an earthquake could hit the area soon.
So that's our first disaster. I do like to keep disasters on. I think it works well. I mean, it's part of the game. So we can see how it goes. I mean, hopefully it's not gonna be that bad, and I think we're making good enough money to withstand any issues that we may have. Let's see if we can zone anything else here. As we can see, we already had we're having the earthquake.
Don't panic and wait for help
It's
if you are in the affected area.
creating a lot of chaos, actually. I didn't think that it was gonna be that bad, but here we are. It created a big opening here. That's crazy to think about. Thankfully, our main square is okay. And now we're gonna do, first of all, stop this and fix whatever is broken, which is basically, first of all, this road. We need to make sure that everything is working fine. Okay, so and since there's a disaster, we need to repair this manually. I think that's it for right now. Let's make sure that we're going the right way. Let's repair this, this. And repair this. That's the only thing that I kinda dislike about disasters that you have to do things manually, and that's something that also mods help you do. But again, there's not much fun in that, so we're fine with this. Let's try to make sure that we join everything together again. And there's no junction. Okay, we're not gonna worry about this right now. Honestly, I think that it's okay for now if we leave it like that. We might even wanna make sure that we this zone, and since we don't have, I guess we can try to put it, but I don't think there's enough money. We can create the disaster response unit, and I think we should be able to. We can put it here. Should be fine for right now. And what it does, like it says in here, it's gonna send helicopters and trucks to make sure that there's no survivors or rescue them, and then you can start rebuilding. And as you can see, there's 9 vehicles in use and 3 helicopters, and if we can follow this helicopter. We're gonna be able to see that it's gonna try to see if it's safe to demolish. That way our casualties are not as bad as we think. And again, having disasters, even though it is the DLC that has all these extras, it is part of a real city. It is part of life. You have disasters, you have tsunamis, you have earthquakes, you have fires, you have lightning, and for me it's fun. It's fun to do it. It's part of it. And that's what you need to do in order to enjoy your city a little bit more. There you go. We completely need to be able to enjoy things as they are. So this one is ready for the building, so we are gonna demolish it. So with this one and this one, and by itself it should already be rebuilding it. This one, the medical clinic, we're just gonna put it here. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we lost the school, unfortunately, so we are gonna put it here again. And again, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, that you're gonna have to be spending money. Too few services. Let's see what else we need. The firehouse. We also lost the police department, and I think I'm just gonna put in here the police department, and maybe they will stop complaining about too few services. Maybe. Let's see if we can do this. We don't have enough money, but we can get a loan. Let's take a loan. And let's build this. Let's build it here. Hopefully that will get them to complain a little bit less. And again, that's something that's gonna happen every time that you go through something like this. You know, it's unexpected, of course. You know, it's not something that you're planning on unless you're the one creating the or ordering the disaster. And as you can see, once these helicopters go and check on the destroyed buildings, they will start rebuilding. Like we're seeing, everything's fine right now. This one, low land value. Let's see, we can build a very little park here. Maybe the bouncy castle. I'm sure they'll be fine. They like the bouncy castle. Another checking on this last one. And I think this is gonna be it. Searching for survivors. And I think it should be fine. Now it's ready for rebuilding. So we're gonna do, because there's nothing here, see, it already disappeared, so we don't have any more destroyed buildings here. And what's next is what we are gonna do with this area. Do we completely level it out, or maybe we can actually build a park here in honor of, you know, all the lives lost? Which, if we check here, there were 432 citizens lost, which is a lot of people. 77 buildings destroyed, 3,700 meters of roads destroyed, and 9 buildings on fire. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, we actually lost the shelter. Yes, we used to have a shelter here, so even if we had called into the shelter, we wouldn't have been able to save those lives. But now that we have this disaster response unit, we're going to be able to work things a little bit better. And of course, that's how things work. You know, now that we have this here, we can see how every little thing affects, and every little thing is going to be a big issue, regardless of whether you want to take it as is or not. And I think for now, this is where we are going to end this episode number 3. I hope you enjoy this. As always, you know, we're trying to see how our city is going to grow, how it's best to grow it. And I think we're doing a pretty good job. You know, we're trying to expand it. We already bought another square. And so that's what's next. Working on the next square. Thank you for watching this episode. Liking, subscribing, commenting, questions, comments, concerns, and suggestions. I'll be here to read them. As always, thank you, and see you on the next episode.